Ben DeVolder. Tony Lopez. Holy smoke. Tony Lopez in the house. Man, oh man, a Shevitz. Hey, Tony Lopez. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the restream. And while I got you, because I know as soon as I start talking, you're going to have to go desk a deal. I want you to start thinking about being a guest on this show. I had a guest earlier in the week, and it went over really, really well. And I'd like to bring you in and maybe talk about anything you want to talk about, man. But I would love to have you as a guest on the Nooner. And hey, Kevin, thank you for being here. Welcome. Appreciate you being here. Hey, Bill, thank you for being here. Welcome, welcome. Ben DeVolder, of course, my good buddy Ben. Laura, thanks for being here. Appreciate that. Thank you guys for the streams or the restreams and the fade. Laura, thanks for being here. Appreciate that. Thank you guys for the streams or the restreams and the faves. Welcome. So, hey, this is episode 50. This is monumental. I've done 50 of these bad boys. This is the 50th episode of the Nooner. So that's really, really cool. I love that. And I really appreciate everybody that has been here since the beginning. I appreciate the support, and thank you very much. So, for those of you just tuning in, allow me to introduce myself to you. My name is David Bradley. I'm a sales and marketing manager with Grant Cardone. I've been working with Grant since March of 2011. Cardone Training Technologies. What we do is we go into businesses, we help them find and handle missed opportunities simply by finding and handling missed opportunity. We help them increase production 15 to 30% simply by helping find and handle missed opportunity. That's what we do over here. Been doing it since March of 2011, and I love it. So if you got a business, 50. Yeah, hey, thanks, man. Yeah, total dedication. Absolutely. Creativity follows commitment, which we're going to talk about in a minute. So what else? Okay, so yeah. Sales and marketing manager with Grant Cardone. Been doing this since March of 2011. We help companies increase production 15 to 30% simply by finding and handle missed opportunities. So if you've got a company, this is any size. This is a company of 1. This is a company of 100, 1,000, 100,000. If you would like to see a 15 to 30% increase in your business, call me. 310-777-0352. If you're better with email, use it. David@grantcardone.com. Be happy to have a conversation with you to see if there may be some opportunity for us to partner up and increase business for you. Another thing about me is I'm the author of a book called How to Stop Smoking Without Killing Anyone. Smoked them cigarettes for about 15 years, could not figure out how to quit, so I finally stopped trying to quit, and I just stopped. But it takes a special mindset and a special awareness to do that, and so what I did was I wrote that down for other people so I can help people as well. So you check out www.stopdon'tquit.com for more information on that. But if you've got a monkey on your back, doesn't have to be cigarettes. If you've got a habit that needs a break-in, check it out. www.stopdon'tquit.com. This is good for not just smoking, but you bite your nails. You drink too much. You're hooked on the Mickey D's, right? Whatever, man. You got a habit you need to break? That book will help you. Third thing on me is I'm the founder of a hashtag called Rich Man's Gym. This is Rich Man's Gym is about home-based strength and conditioning for body, mind, and spirit. I do not believe you have to go to an actual gym to look good naked. You can do this from the comfort of your own home. You can do it from the comfort of the garage or at the park. So my next book is going to be all about that, same title. But if you search Rich Man's Gym on either Twitter or Instagram, you'll find some pretty cool stuff. So thanks again for being here. What does Kevin say? Kevin says, Tony Lopez says 50 is 10x, baby. Thank you, Tony. Seriously, I want to have you as a guest on the Nooner. Kevin says, I'm a Cardone University student. Best money I've ever spent. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Love it. Okay, so today, what are we talking about? We're talking about social media. Ironically, here we are using a social media platform to discuss social media. Okay, so I'm going to give 4 tips. So if you've got a business, and let's just establish some fundamentals here. So if you've got a business, let's go back a little bit. So on Tuesday, we talked about 3 marketing mindsets for small business with Michael Cirillo. And if you missed it, it's very, very good. Michael gives some really solid insights on what it takes the marketing, like where you need to get your mind at to be effective in terms of marketing your small business. And he gives you 3 top mindsets. I don't know if you were there, great. If you missed it, check out youtube.com/Cardone Solutions. I got a playlist over there called The Nooner where most of these episodes are. A few didn't make it because of Meerkat technicality glitching stuff. But look, the 3 things for successful marketing and small business is know your why. Okay, create your core values, and then overcome obscurity. So that leads me to think, hey, what are some ways you can overcome obscurity? Well, social media is a huge way to get you and your business out of obscurity, and so we're going to talk about that a little bit today. Alexander, thank you for being here. Appreciate you coming in and hanging out. Mehmet, hey, thank you for being here. Appreciate that. Welcome. This is The Nooner. We're talking about social media tips for small business. So, look, think about this for a second as we're going into this. If you've got a small business especially, what are some businesses on a large scale that you can think of right now that have been completely decimated by the internet? And would love to get some comments. Just type in a business or a company that you believe has been taken down basically because of the internet. So, but look, here's the bottom line. I'm going to give you my 2 cents on that in just a second, but I want you to start commenting now so you can catch up to me. Here's the bottom line. People shop and they buy different now. Would you agree with that? They also get information differently now, right? Does that make sense? Think about like how you get information. Think about how you shop for product. Think about like how you do it, okay? It's very, very different than when you did it even in the 90s or the 80s. Especially different than how you did it in the 70s, okay? So, social media, if you're a small business, can be quite the conundrum. It can be quite the challenge. Because think about this. If you've got a business if you've been in practice, Kevin says bookstores, damn right. If you've got a business that's been in practice for, say, 20 years, maybe you've got a shoe repair place that's had the same location, same company, same business, 20 years, you got steady customer flow. What is the relevancy of Facebook to my business, right? Tony Lopez says, so bookstores. So here's some businesses that have been decimated by the internet. Kevin says bookstores. Tony Lopez says real estate companies feel prehistoric presence or feel prehistoric with their digital. Yeah, absolutely. Real estate companies are a little bit behind. Record stores, yeah, man. CDs definitely miss the record store. So if you've got a small business, though, that's consistent, why would you what's the relevancy of social? Well, look, here's the deal. 77% of all Americans, 77% of all Americans, and I would assume this is probably a pretty good stat in most affluent nations, use the internet. Half of the United States has a Facebook account. Half. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, it means that's where the customers are. Okay, if 77% of the nation is on the internet to one degree, that's where the customers are. So it would make sense to be there, right? You want that presence, right? And then here I am on Meerkat, preaching to the proverbial choir. Michael Den, hey man, welcome. Thank you for being here. Appreciate that. So just consider your business for a moment. And this is, hey, if you got a small business, great. If you're an entrepreneur, great. If you're an employee, think about your business, not necessarily the company, but you are a business person within that business, right? I don't know if you caught Grant Cardone's webinar yesterday they did with Fran Tarkenton, but he talks a lot about that, is that, hey, if you're a company, you as the employee are a mini company within that company, right? So how are people finding out about you? And then how are people finding out about your company? Have you Googled yourself lately? Have you Googled your company lately? Have you looked yourself up on Yelp? Does your business have a Facebook page? Does you as a business person have a Facebook page? Are you tweeting, right? So this is where social media is where people go to what? Be social. Thank you for the restream and the like, Michael. So have you ever done this? Because I've done this. You ever walk into a store, fully intent to buy something. You look around. You can't find what you're after. Okay? It may actually be there, but you can't find it. And the salesperson is inept. So You literally buy what you went into the store for on your smartphone in that store, on Amazon or somewhere, right? I've done this. I've gone into, I don't know if I should name the retailer or not, but I've gone into a retail establishment with the full intent to purchase something for my coffee maker and could not get an answer, could not get the help, could not find the product they were after, even though I had a coupon. Went online and ordered it in front of the guy. It was in my house the next day because of Amazon Prime. What is that costing your business, right? Think about that. So social media plays a very, very important role. Tony Lopez has 600 Google reviews. Okay, so for those of you that are in the Inland Empire or Los Angeles, Southern California, if you need a Honda, go see my guy Tony Lopez over at Spreen. Reach out to him. Guy's got 600 Google reviews, okay? So it means he's doing something right. Assuming they're all good. They're all good, right? All right, so what I'm going to give you guys are 4 fundamental tips for social media in your small business. So the first one is this. Post more often than you should. So if I sit down and I talk to 100 different people and say, hey, what do you think is the biggest problem for your business? I'm probably going to get about 100, maybe 200 different unique answers, okay? But if you chip away at these answers, when we get down to the nitty and the gritty, the bottom line for this, the biggest problem for any small business, any business for that matter, is going to be what? Obscurity, okay? So if you follow my guy, Grant Cardone, he'll tell you the biggest problem any business has is obscurity. Number 3, remember that from earlier today? Or yesterday, or Tuesday, sorry. Number 3 mindsets for small business is get out of obscurity. Okay, so Michael Cirillo's telling you get out of obscurity. Grant Cardone's telling you get out of obscurity. Okay, if people don't know who you are, they can't do business with you. So Facebook, though, has these weird algorithms that they change consistently because their goal is to create a better experience for the user, not the business person, right? But the user of Facebook. They want to create a really good experience. So it's changing, okay? What you post at 2 o'clock will not be present for somebody at 5:30, okay? Or it may be. You don't know. It depends on how that individual is engaging with you, okay? So some people will tell you, hey, only post twice a day. Or someone else may tell you, you're posting too much, okay? Some people are concerned that overposting is actually going to drive people away. But underposting means what? Means you're in obscurity. People won't see it. They won't know. Have you ever posted something on Facebook? Bill says create attention. Yeah. Have you ever posted something on Facebook and then later on someone's like, I didn't see that. Right? I've posted stuff on Facebook that I start talking about it and my wife didn't even see it. She follows me. Right? Not only are we friends, but she follows me. So she gets notifications of stuff that I post. And she didn't even see it. It's my wife. So if you need, you got to post a lot and a lot to get people to see what's going on. No one sees it, Bill says. Right. So Kevin says, hey, explain what you mean. Whoop, hold on. Kevin says, explain what you mean by get out of obscurity. Well, I'll just sum it up, Kevin. If people don't like the nutshell, hey, Lydia, thanks for being here. Hope you stick around today. If people don't know who you are, they can't do business with you. So, grassroots, getting out of obscurity means you knocking on a door. Hello, I'm Kevin. But in the Facebook community, it's making sure that people know who you are, what you do, that you have a business, and that you're engaged with them. Tony Lopez says, look at your analytics. They will tell you when you have your greatest audience. Exactly. So analytics will give you a really good tip on when specifically to post. But you never know when people are there. Truly, I mean, you can get a good sense of it, but people are there all the time at different levels, and so you want to make sure that you're engaging with them and that you're fishing where the fish are. That's how analytics helps with that. But that also means that you probably should be posting more often than you think you should. Okay, so check out some of these facts and figures. Over 1.23 billion people actively on Facebook. Okay, active means you sign in at least once a day. Okay, Average number of posts that are eligible to show up on your newsfeed is over 1,500. There's 55 million status updates on a daily basis. Those stats are about a year old. So these numbers are only going up. Okay. So, you know, would you rather have a full house of customers? Bill says you got to be on Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Yeah, you got to be all over the place, man. You need multiple flows, right? Wouldn't you rather have a full house of people in your company running around? Would you be willing to sacrifice 1 or 2 followers to have a full house? Thank you for the follow, Michael. Kevin says you see Grant posting on Twitter at times when he would be asleep. What's he using for this? Well, the first thing we want to recognize is that there's a really good chance that he doesn't. Actually, he does. We've got photographic proof of that. But hey, Kevin, call me after the stream and I'll give you a couple tips on that. There's some really cool tools that you can use to make sure that you're posting. But Grant is very, very actively engaged in Twitter. Most of the things you see on there actually are him. So his phone does not leave his side, and he is constantly tweeting. So I would assume that if he gets up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, he's probably going to tweet before he goes back to sleep. Just thought. So the bottom line of why I think you should post more than you should is that Facebook is consistently, and so is Google, adjusting their algorithms, okay, to create an experience for the user. Not the business person, but the user, okay? And without some consistent, frequent posts, people can't see you, people can't engage, you will slip into obscurity, okay? That's the bottom line on that, okay? Beast mode, that's right. So the lesson is tweet more than you think you should, post to Facebook more than you think you should, and right around the time you think you might be doing too much, you've actually just scratched the surface of where you should be. Okay. One of the things that I use is a service called Buffer. So Kevin, if you want more on that, or if anybody wants more on Buffer, email me, david@grantcardone.com. I'll send you a link to that. There's another one I use called Twitter Jukebox, which is pretty cool. Again, email me and I'm happy to send you all the data you need on that. So, are we clear on the first one, which is post more than you think you should, right? Does that make sense? Okay, so here's the second piece, okay, is what am I posting, right? What am I putting out there? Because you got to make sure that what you put out there is quality, not just a bunch of buy from me, buy from me, buy from me, and I'll dig into that in a second. So, number 2 is to be certain and be social, okay? So, the best example I can give you for that is 6th grade. You remember 6th grade, right? You're at the dance, right? There's all the guys on one side of the gym and there's all the girls on the other side of the gym, okay? You really want to go to the other side and ask a girl to dance, right? But you can't. Why? You're not certain. You're uncertain. You're afraid she's going to say no, right? You ever just stare at that thing, what's on your mind on Facebook, and there's like nothing, crickets? Okay, so if you're not certain, you can't be social. So you need to be certain about you and your product and your company 100%, or you're not going to be social, okay? You have to be very committed. Why? Because as Grant says, creativity follows commitment. Okay, so check this out. Here's a quote from Sell or Be Sold. Conviction is defined as the ability to be so firmly sold on your beliefs that you demonstrate to your buyer with such complete and utter certainty that no other choices appear to be available. Okay, so you want to have that level of certainty in what you're doing on a social level so that the creativity will flow. And that will give you the creativity you need so that you're asking like engaging questions, right? I mean, it is called social media for a reason, right? So we want to be social here. If you just pound people with your specials and calls to action and offers to buy and discounts and deals and this weekend's activity, you just do that, people will tune you out. You will become obscure to them because that's all you're doing is just hammering that stuff down, okay? So speaking of Grant, right, and Sell or Be Sold, one of the first things I learned from Grant is that selling is a conversation. If you're taking notes, write this down and think about this. Selling is a conversation, and power comes from the words that you use. This is one of these little nuggets that you get that just changes like everything for you, okay? So how do you think that applies to social media? Selling is a conversation, power comes from the words that you use. If it is social, okay, and it's a media format, then social media is a big fat conversation. So how are you having a conversation with your followers, with your buyers, with your potential buyers, with your current clients, okay? You want to converse with your audience, right? So here, let me give you an example. Let's say you've got a small town single screen movie theater. This is you would have a tremendous opportunity to engage with your community. Because number one, everybody loves movies. Everybody likes talking about movies, okay? And so whatever you're showing, you don't always necessarily have to talk about the film that is in your theater at that given time. I mean, you're literally selling like a mini vacation, right? People go to the movies to do what? To be entertained, to escape, to forget, right? Okay. I don't drink or smoke anymore, and so the movies to me is one of the best ways that I can, without hurting my body, change my brain chemistry, right? Because that's what the movies do, right? So let's just take the movie Jersey Boys, right? Who's seen that, right? Okay, so if that movie was playing, wouldn't it make sense on your Facebook page or on Twitter to like engage on other movies that were musicals? Or maybe do a blog about the top 10 best movie musicals and then start getting people to discuss the top 10 that you list and see what they agree with and what they don't. And like literally, like if you got that movie playing there for 2 weeks, there's enough content within that film and with just that suggestion alone to keep people engaged in your site so that people don't forget that, hey, I got to go check out Jersey Boys at the local theater. Because who are you competing with? These big, massive conglomerate movie theaters all the time, right? That are probably just pounding. They do that for a reason, okay? So that's who you're competing with. And over what? Attention, right? So you can't fall into obscurity. You can't just post once a week about what's playing this week and think people are going to see that and engage. Does that make sense? So another example, let's say that there's a car show in town, right? So could you talk about best cars in movies? Yesterday was Back to the Future Day, right? So wouldn't it make sense to engage in that? Since there's a car show in town, just, hey, wouldn't it be great after the show to come put your feet up in our nice air-conditioned theater? Take a load off, right? You see what I'm saying? Like, so think about, like, how can you take what's going on in your community and bring it back to your business? Okay, so if you're looking for stuff about being certain and being social, okay? So step number 2 is to be certain and then to be social, right? Now, step 3 is to persist. If at first you don't succeed, you guys know the rest, so I won't bother you with it. But look, social media, here's another reality for you, a little flash in the pan, okay? Social media is not new. Being social is not new. We've been social since we could grunt, right? Pre-linguistic people are still social. You just look at like monkeys, okay? They're social. Animals, the animal kingdom is social. So being social has existed since the dawn of time. Media has existed since the Stone Age. Started with cave paintings, drawing in the dirt, pictures. That's media, okay? In the 50s, we didn't have social media per se. Or did we? You ever seen that picture? All the people on a subway, their head in the paper, okay? The only thing that's changed is it's a cell phone now that your head is in, not the newspaper, okay? But we're still into this deal, okay? So being social, not new. Media, not new either, okay? But these two things have like really joined forces in a very unique and powerful way. So social media has for us sort of like, like the quad in high school, right? So earlier I'm talking about the 6th grade dance. Now I'm talking about the quad in high school where people all of different social standings all come to the same place to hang out and discuss what's going on. My nose itches. I apologize. So the point is that Facebook and Twitter and Pinterest, I might just slam my head on my desk real quick just to like handle this itch. So Facebook and Twitter and Pinterest, these are social platforms. This is your quad in high school, and this is where people go to engage and discuss and be social. So you have to navigate these waters, and there's going to be a learning curve for that. So that's why I say persist. You're not going to get this on the first shot. It's just like when you go to a party and you start working the room. You're just not comfortable there yet because you don't know everybody. You still got to get familiar with the environment. You got to do all that stuff. The same thing applies to social media and engaging in it, okay? So now, as you're doing this, I just want to give you a heads up. As you're going through and you're engaging in social, something's going to happen. Two things, actually. Number one, people are going to tell you that you're doing too much. And then somebody else is going to tell you that this is a waste of time. Okay, so when that happens, I want you to do two things. Number one, remember, hey, Dave told me that. I totally remember that. Okay, and then number two, recognize that people also told Thomas Edison he was wasting his time with the light bulb. They thought movies were going to be a fad. Okay. Alexander Graham Bell was nuts right up until he invented the telephone. Galileo, okay, Columbus, the world is round. All these people were crazy right until they got proven right. Okay, so anybody that tells you, yeah, they thought the internet was going to be a fad, right? Yeah, Tony Lopez says, anybody that tells you you're doing too much and you're wasting your time, recognize that they may very well be looking out for your best interest, but just thank them, acknowledge, do it anyway. Okay, so you have a message, you have a voice, you have a product or a service that helps people, that solves a problem, it enriches somebody's life, okay? You need to persist through all of that. Okay, so if you follow Grant, you're going to recognize that when you start getting attention, you're going to get some criticism, you're going to get some haters, and those two things are going to happen before you hit the big admiration. Okay, so persisting through social will get you some criticism, you'll get a few haters, it's all good, and then you're going to hit it. Okay, what does Bill say? Bill says, using the internet tools, work out which platform, Facebook, Instagram, is best for you, increase what you're good at, drop the bad ones. Okay, hey, Bill, love that point. Definitely play to your strengths and work that. One of the things that you will learn from Grant is that he works on multiple lines. Okay, so Grant works Twitter really, really hard. Grant's got a very different strategy and method and application for Facebook. Then, look at how Grant uses Meerkat and Periscope, and look at how he leverages Blab with that. Look at how he used YouTube 5 years ago versus how he's using YouTube now. I don't know if Grant would ever drop one, and I don't know if there even is a bad one. Does that make sense? Like it's just a different line and a different stream, and he's going to work every single one of them because there's different groups of people there. So yes, work what you're good at and get it very, very dialed in so you don't have to put too much thought into it, like get it on autopilot to a degree. But the ones that you don't understand, the ones that you aren't good at, are places where you want to push into and really understand it and then dominate it, right? One of the first things one of his first tweets, one of the first things he said very early on in his Twitter experience was, I'm going to make this my little bitch, right? Like he's going to dominate Twitter, okay? Right, last night Grant said hammer them all. Exactly, totally. So you're right on point, okay? So, you got to persist, you got to push, you got to scratch, you got to claw, post, engage, okay? And, you know, Gary V has got a great book on that, you know, jab, 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 right hook. But what he calls the subtitle of that book is about engaging, telling your story in a very social world. Noisy, too, right? So there's a lot of noise, which again is why I say persist and post more than you should. So post more than you should is number 1. Be certain, be social, persist through it. And number 4, okay, is be brief. Twitter has only 140 characters for a reason. Be brief. Okay, so we live in an ADD world. Be brief. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Okay, so now, what'd you hear today that you liked? Number 1 takeaway from today's episode of The Nooner. Tony Lopez says, I gotta go. Hey, timing's perfect because I'm out. Think about being a guest on my show. Would you like some bonus material to go with this? Would you be interested in getting some 6 fun tips to broaden your reach on social media? If you'd like that, send me an email, david@grantcardone.com, and I'll be happy to blast out to you 6 fun tips to broaden your reach. So again, my email address, david@grantcardone.com. This has been episode 50 of The Nooner. Thank you guys for being here. Bill, thank you for the compliments. Appreciate everybody's participation today. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about handling objections, but I'm throwing in a twist and a hook. How to handle objections like Lao Tzu. This has been episode 50 of The Nooner. I'm your host, David Bradley. We will see you tomorrow.